Kansas football punctuates its spring campaign with the annual spring game. We'll break down the action from Saturday, and your top highlight of the weekend, it'll have you leaping into the stands. Good Morning KU is next. Good morning, KU, and a very beautiful morning it is indeed. Griffin Hughes, Jackson Long here with you. That nice spring weather means spring football. The Jayhawks in action Saturday, showcasing their work from a month's worth of spring practice. Let's take a look at the highlights from the game on Saturday. Kansas football, a decent crowd in the stands. The weather was a little rainy. Michael Cummings is getting injured here. That is the big story from the game. He would leave with a left knee injury. That is Coach Dave Beatty with the football trainers there in reaction there. So Montel Kozart gets the flip side of the action as the other quarterback. So let's take a look at some of the things we saw from this weekend. The main story, clearly, the Michael Cummings injury.
Yeah, absolutely. That was the one. He goes down and the breath was taken out of the entire stadium. Nobody likes to see that, especially in a spring game. He's going to be the starting quarterback, the experience there. We don't know anything about it yet, and there is a long time before they play an actual regular season game, but that's certainly the number one storyline. Yeah,
after the game, the extent of the injury was not known. It did not look good when you watched it happen live and repeated on video. The receivers have struggled in the last couple of years and did so a little bit on Saturday as well.
They did, and they dropped a couple passes. The route running was not as clean and crisp as you'd like it to be, and it certainly didn't help out Montel Kozar when he had to come in for the injured Michael Cummings. The one receiver that you want to look for is Chase Harrell. He's 6'4", 200 pounds out of Texas. He was a 3-star recruit, but he also lettered in track and basketball. He's super athletic. He's got big hands, and at 6'4", 200, he's got that NFL body, but he's just a freshman, not very experienced.
And part of that experience may need to happen quickly because Corey Avery, one of the best offensive weapons, and then also Rodriguez Coleman, suspended indefinitely for violation of team rules. So this appears to be something, but also definitely takes away some offensive weapons for the Jayhawks.
Absolutely, and Rodriguez Coleman is a senior. He's one of the most experienced receivers in that core. He would help some of those younger guys out. There's a couple freshmen that are supposed to carry a lot of the load. So with his suspension, freshmen are going to be thrown right into the fire if this continues. And Corey Avery was part of that two-headed monster that was certainly going to be the focal point of the offense. But now it's only DeAndre Mann, and Taylor Cox is talented, but we don't know what we're going to get from him. So it has more to do with the fact that there's a little bit less depth there.
Yeah, so we get a chance to look at KU football at the spring game. But now it's still baseball season, that's for KU.
Kansas baseball, they took on the Mountaineers of West Virginia over the weekend in their quest to get back to the postseason hunt. They downed the Mountaineers 3-1 on Friday to start the series and 9-5 on Saturday. Ben Krauth and Drew Moravik picked up the wins in those ones. And the Jayhawks, they leapt out to a 4-3 lead on Sunday. West Virginia hung 2 on the young freshman Blake Wyman, though. That gave them a 5-4 win. That's the Mountaineers. Kansas will take on Arkansas Pine Bluff on Wednesday. And the main takeaway, of course, is Drew Moravik, Ben Krauth. Those are the two guys that are going to be the pitchers to watch for. But beyond them, there's not a ton of depth for the pitching staff.
Yes, and that's been the story all season for Kansas baseball, making sure they can match their hitting prowess with a couple pitching. So they were able to do that this weekend in Morgantown. Kansas softball also in action over the weekend as they took on the 6th-ranked Oklahoma Sooners. Kansas dropped the series 2-1, but not after some fireworks on Friday. After being shut down offensively all game, Chaley Brickey sparked the Jayhawks offense with a 2-run home run to tie the game in the bottom of the 6th. In the bottom of the 8th, freshman Daniela Chavez blasted a 2-run walk-off to give Kansas a win in the first game of the series. Griffin, you were able to be at that game on the call as well.
Yeah, it was incredibly exciting, and I mean, what I really want to stress is the fact that Paige Parker, the Oklahoma pitcher, she's one of the best in the Big 12, one of the best in the country. She was absolutely dominating Kansas up until Brickey's home run. There were no hits up until that point. So it was really, there were 3 hits in the game. 2 of them were by Brickey. 2 of them were home runs. 1 of them was a walk-off. And it was just really exciting because Oklahoma had Kansas outmatched, but it was Alicia Pilley managed to get the job done. And that was one of the most exciting atmospheres I've ever been a part of.
Absolutely, a fantastic finish there on Friday, but Oklahoma went on to beat Kansas 13-0 on Saturday and 7-4 on Sunday to take the series. After the series, Kansas is now 5-7 in the Big 12, and they are 1-3 against teams in the top 25. The Royals wrapped up the weekend in Chicago, a rainy weekend in the Windy City. They finished Friday's matchup, which was suspended after 8 innings on Sunday. The White Sox win 3-2 in that slate and 5-3 in the second game on Sunday to take the series. But the highlight of the day is Alex Gordon gold gloving everything into the stands, over 2 rows of seats, into a White Sox fan. A fantastic play by Alex Gordon.
Absolutely, and that is very similar to a play that a guy from my hometown team made just a couple weeks ago. Was Nolan Arenado sliding over the tarp into some fans trying to go for a foul ball. It's just amazing when you see guys doing that, putting their body on the line, and I mean, that looked like it hurt.
A fantastic play there from Alex Gordon. That is it for us in this first segment. We will be back with Curtis Marsh of KU Info after the break. Stay with us.
Where you go to college makes a statement about you. This place will become a part of you, your identity for life. The University of Kansas, a great place to be you.
Welcome back in. We are joined by Curtis Marsh of KU Info. Curtis, thanks for joining us.
Absolutely, Jackson. Thanks.
It is a fantastic tradition here at Kansas, and we are now celebrating 150 years of that. What a great history we have here at KU.
I couldn't agree more. I talk to folks about how every school says they have unique and awesome traditions, and you know, the only difference between them and KU is that we actually do.
I couldn't have said it better myself as I guess a local now too. What are some of your favorite traditions that Kansas really has that's very unique to this place?
You know, I don't have to tell you there are almost too many to mention. Obviously, the athletic-based traditions are a lot of fun. One of the coolest that I think we don't even realize how unique we've got it is walking down the hill. I understand you'll be doing that.
Yes, graduating in a couple weeks.
Very cool.
Excited, and it's a very scary thing as well. So what do we have to look forward to? You mentioned walking down the hill as well at graduation.
Well, let me ask you, would you consider skipping that in a couple weeks if you maybe had friends in town or something
I don't
else?
think I would. I think
No
I
way.
would make sure they're a part of it too, and
Yeah.
then I guess you flipped the interview on me here a little bit. But yeah, absolutely. I think walking through the Campanile, and I haven't walked through yet.
Good.
The old
Good
bad
on
luck. I understand that tradition, so
You bet.
I am. I'm looking forward to it, and to do it with some of my friends as well.
Well, I'll tell you the reason that I asked. There are schools that we've worked with that are challenged with trying to convince their students to take part in commencement. You know, we've got 4,000 or 5,000 students graduating, and because of that, we're not going to have you walk up on stage, shake the chancellor's hand, and get a pretend diploma. And so in other schools, they don't have the traditions that we've got surrounding commencement, and a lot of the students just don't go because all they feel like they're doing is sitting down and listening to someone talk, and then maybe they get to stand up when their school is announced. But like you, I don't think anyone would consider blowing off commencement because you get to walk through the Campanile and down the hill.
Absolutely. I hope it's one of my favorite moments. Obviously, I have not experienced that yet. I have some great times here at Kansas. What are some of your favorite memories that you've had just interacting with the university and all of its great moving parts?
Well, you know, I love the fact that we've got here, it's a little island in the Midwest, and the fact that we can come to school here with, you know, an international flavor and people from the West Coast and the East Coast, and especially, I think you said you're a townie, right?
Yes, I am.
So, I mean, you grew up here, and then you get to come to KU, and if you have Midwest upbringing and values, that's a great thing, but we don't see a whole lot of the rest of the world unless we get a chance to travel. I love just coming here and finding out what was going on with the rest of the world that I didn't necessarily know about. And yeah, I kind of liked basketball too. My first year was this dates me horribly, but my freshman year was '88 when we won the championship.
Very
So
nice.
I thought, man, this is cool. I can get to do this every year maybe.
Well, freshman year, I guess for me, was going to the championship game. Kansas beats Ohio State,
Awesome.
and then rushed to Mass Street. So
Yeah.
did you have that opportunity as well?
You know, in '88, we had been to the Final Four a couple years earlier and didn't win it all. But the tradition then was to jump up to Jayhawk Boulevard.
Very cool.
We didn't have as much activity in the evenings on Mass Street as we do now, and so it wasn't the destination that it is now. Although I can tell you for sure that the KU administration is kind of happy that everyone goes to Mass instead
Going
of
away
coming.
from
Yeah,
the
right.
Kansas.
You got
Hey, they were jumping on cars on Mass Street. I don't think they would like the Kansas
It
students
happens,
going
yeah.
crazy on campus. Very interesting, though,
Yeah.
that the top of the hill on Jayhawk Boulevard was the center for the
For sure.
celebration there. This is Curtis Marsh, KU Info. Thank you for joining us this morning.
You bet.
Always a pleasure.
You bet.
And we will be back with the news after the break. Stay with us.
Welcome back. I'm Tom Skoke, and this is your Monday Good Morning KU News Update. The death toll from the earthquake in Nepal is now more than 3,700 people. The 7.8 magnitude earthquake hit on Saturday near the capital city, Kathmandu. Rescuers were on site when aftershocks hit the mountain area on Sunday. The death toll is expected to rise even higher as the rubble is cleared. A missing University of Colorado student from Chicago has been found alive. Tyler Allen was last seen on April 11th and was reported missing by his family on April 18th. Boulder police said that Allen told them he had been on campus the entire time and was not a victim of any criminal activity. The funeral for the Baltimore man who was killed in police custody and sparked this weekend's riots is scheduled for today. Freddie Gray died on April 19th after being injured with a severe spinal cord injury. Protests on Saturday turned ugly and took to the streets, causing fans to remain in Camden Yards toward the end of a Baltimore Orioles baseball game. A Florida jury convicted 3 remaining defendants of manslaughter in the hazing death of a Florida A&M band student. 26-year-old Robert Champion died in 2011 after running through a gauntlet of fellow band members who beat him with instruments. A total of 15 band members have been charged. And finally, Loretta Lynch will be sworn in today as U.S. Attorney General. Lynch will be the first black woman to serve in the nation's top law enforcement post. She has stated that she hopes to mend the disconnect between law enforcement and the black population. That will wrap it up for today's national news. Stay tuned, and after the break, we'll be back with the weather forecast.
Where you go to college makes a statement about you. This place will become a part of you, your identity for life. The University of Kansas, a great place to be you.
Welcome back to Good Morning KU. Jackson did mention that it's a beautiful day, so we've got our MVP utility people, Bentley Leonard and Sam Ola, out in the field. Guys, how's the weather looking? What are you doing out there?
Well, everything's good out here. We're actually outside Watson, overlooking Jayhawk Boulevard. It's currently low 50s right now, and it's going to raise to a high of 66 later today.
It's like be perfect weather for some tennis. If you want to go outside and play some tennis, which I'll most likely be doing. It's a little windy, but it's going to be perfect out.
Mm-hmm.
But the rest of the week, it looks like it's going to be in like the 70s. So it's perfect. Tomorrow and Wednesday, it'd be high of 70.
Mm-hmm. And then this weekend, we're going to get even higher, and we're going to get into the low 80s. But unfortunately, Saturday is going to have thunderstorms, but we're going to get up to about 83 on Sunday with hopefully no thunderstorms that day, but at least it's getting warmer.
Yes, very true.
Sam Bentley, Thanks, guys, for being out in the field. You know, we do like our utility people here on Good Morning KU, and especially when our utility people bring good news. That'll do it for us on Good Morning KU. For the entire crew, I'm Griffin Hughes. Thank you so much for watching. Tune in tomorrow at 10 a.m.